نعبدہ ونصلی علی رسولہ الکریم اعوذ باللہ من الشیطان الرجیم بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم سبحانک لا علم لنا الا ما علمتنا انک انت العلیم الحکیم رب اشرح لی صدری ویسر لی امری واحلل عقدۃ من لسانی یفقہوا قولی۔ السلام علیکم ورحمۃ اللہ وبرکاتہ۔ آپ دیکھ رہے ہیں ہمارا یوٹیوب چینل پی کے ٹرو ٹی وی اور میں ہوں حاجی محمد بشیر سولجر۔ ناظرین، آج بات کریں گے لیاقت علی خان کی شہادت، بینظیر بھٹو صاحبہ کی شہادت، ارشد شریف کی شہادت اور عمران خان پر قاتلانہ حملہ، ان میں کتنی قدریں مشترک ہیں۔ تو جو لوگ ہماری عمر کے ہیں وہ جانتے ہیں کہ لیاقت علی خان کو گولی ماری گئی اور پھر جس نے گولی ماری تھی اس کو لیاقت علی خان کے گارڈ نے گولی مار دی۔ بینظیر بھٹو صاحبہ جب پہلے دبئی سے کراچی آئیں تو ان کے اوپر بھی اس طرح کا حملہ ہوا جس طرح کا حملہ عمران خان پر ہوا، اور وہ بے شک شدید حملہ تھا، فائرنگ تھی، لیکن چونکہ آپ اندر تھیں وہ آپ کو وارننگ تھی۔ لیکن بینظیر صاحبہ ایک بہادر باپ کی بہادر بیٹی تھی، وہ اس سے ڈری نہیں، اور پھر اللہ کو بھی شاید یہی منظور ہوتا ہے کہ کہاں موت آنی ہے۔ پھر اسی لیاقت خان باغ میں وہ جلسہ کر کے نکلی تو ان کی گاڑی پر حملہ ہوا، جبکہ وہ باہر اوپر گاڑی سے نکل کر لوگوں کو عمران خان کی طرح ہاتھ ہلا کر اپریشیٹ کر رہی تھی۔ تو اس کے بعد آپ نے دیکھا ارشد شریف، اللہ تبارک تعالیٰ اس کے درجات بلند کرے، بہادر باپ، بہادر بھائی کا بہادر بھائی کو کس طرح بگا کر مارا گیا، ملک چھوڑ کر چلا گیا، لیکن اس کو بخشا نہیں گیا۔ اور اسی طرح عمران خان کا جو قاتلانہ حملہ ہوا ہے وہ قدریں مشترک یہ ہیں کہ یہ سارے حملے جو ہے، جو پہلے جو حملے ہیں وہ بھی CIA نے کرائے ہیں۔ جس کے جو تاریخ ہم دیکھتے ہیں جنگ عظیم دوم کے بعد، تو جہاں جہاں بھی CIA نے آپریشن کرنا مقصود ہوتا ہے تو وہ اسی طرح حادثات، کہیں حادثے کی شکل دی جاتی ہے، کہیں مختلف قسم کے ڈراموں کی صورت میں ان لوگوں کو مارا جاتا ہے جو ان کے ناپسندیدہ ہوتے ہیں۔ اور یہ بھی بہت سے لوگ جانتے ہیں، کئی مرتبہ CIA کے ریٹائر افسران نے ان باتوں کا انکشاف بھی کیا ہے کہ فلاں کو ہم نے مارا، فلاں کو ہم نے مارا، فلاں ملک کے صدر کو۔ تو ان کا یہ بیان دینا بھی ایسے بے معنی نہیں ہوتا، اس سے وہ موجودہ جو حکمران ہوتے ہیں چھوٹوں ملکوں کے، ان کو باور کراتے ہیں کہ اگر آپ نے ہماری نہ مانی، ہمارے تحت نہ رہے، تو پھر آپ کے ساتھ بھی یہ سب کچھ ہو سکتا ہے۔ ابھی دیکھیں یہ جو عمران خان کے کنٹینر پر جو حملہ ہوا ہے، وہ ایک نہیں تھا حملہ آور، کم از کم دو سے زیادہ ہو سکتے ہیں، کیونکہ وہ جو پڑھائے ہوئے بیان پڑھ رہا ہے جو پکڑا گیا ہے، پہلے تو دیکھیں کیا آپ کو وہ کوئی مذہبی اس پر رنگ نظر آتا ہے، جس کو حکومت مذہبی قرار دینے کی کوشش کر رہی اور پلان یہی بنایا گیا تھا۔ اس کی شکل و صورت سے، اس سے حلیے سے بھی کوئی نہیں کہہ سکتا کہ اس کا مذہب سے دور دور کا بھی کوئی تعلق ہے۔ دوسرا، جیسا کہ میں پہلے اپنی ویڈیو میں آپ سے گزارش کی تھی کہ یہ سب کچھ ان کو پڑھایا جاتا ہے اور خودکش حملہ آوروں کی طرح ان کو بہت دیر دوائیاں وغیرہ دی جاتی ہیں، پھر ان کو جو ہے نا یہ بہت سارے معاملات ان کے ساتھ کر کے ان کو ٹریننگ دی جاتی ہے۔ ابھی اس کا بیان ہے کہ میں نے 8 گولیاں چلائی اور 9ویں گولی جو مس ہو گئی، تو ناظرین 4 گولیاں تو عمران خان کو لگی اور جو 16 آدمی زخمی ہوئے۔ تو یہ آہستہ آہستہ کنفرم ہوتا جا رہا ہے کہ آدمی کم از کم 2 تھے، اور جیسا کہ عمران خان نے بتایا دائیں سائڈ سے بھی ان پر حملہ کیا گیا۔ لیکن افسوس، صد افسوس یہ ہے کہ سابقہ روایات کو یہاں بھی برقرار رکھا جائے گا اور اس کا کوئی نتیجہ نہیں نکلے گا، اس لیے کہ جنہوں نے یہ ایسے کام کراتے ہیں ان کا نام لینے اور ان کے خلاف کوئی تحقیقات کرنے یا ان کا کسی رپورٹ میں ذکر کرنا ابھی تک ہمارے حکمرانوں میں اور چھوٹے ملک کے حکمرانوں میں اتنی سخت، اتنی طاقت نہیں ہے۔ تو یہ بھی لیاقت علی خان کی طرح، حمود الرحمان رپورٹ کی طرح، بینظیر بھٹو کی شہادت کی طرح، یہ ارشد شریف کی شہادت اور عمران خان کا پر قاتلانہ حملہ، اس پر کوئی رپورٹ نہیں بنے گی بھی تو اندر ہی رہے گی۔ کمیشن بنے گے تو اس کا بھی نتیجہ سابقہ روایت کے مطابق جو ہے نا وہ 0 ہوگا۔ اس لیے ابھی دیکھیں، ہر آدمی کو اپنی جان پیاری ہوتی ہے۔ عمران خان نے یہ بات کہہ دی ہے کہ میں جیسے ہی ٹھیک ہو جاؤں گا دوبارہ لانگ مارچ شروع کر دوں گا، لیکن میں یہ آپ کو بتا رہا ہوں کہ ابھی اتنی جلدی لانگ مارچ نہیں شروع ہوگا، کہ ان کو باور کرا دیا گیا ہے کہ دوبارہ بھی اگر آپ نے لانگ مارچ کرنے کی کوشش کی تو آپ کے ساتھ یہی کچھ کیا جائے گا۔ اس مرتبہ تو آپ بچ گئے تو نیکسٹ شاید آپ نہ بچ سکے، اس لیے عمران خان شاید دوبارہ لانگ مارچ ابھی نہ کرے، اگر کرے گا بھی تو وہ پھر پورے جو ہے نا اپنی سیکورٹی کے انتظامات کر کے کرے گا، اور جو پہلے اس کی بے احتیاطی تھی وہ ان کو دور کرے گا۔ اور یہ بھی بہت مشکل ترین ہے جب وہ حملہ وار ہوتے ہیں تو ان کے سامنے سیکورٹی اتنی اہمیت نہیں رکھتی، کیونکہ وہ بہت بڑے شوٹر ہوتے ہیں اور بہت بڑے تیز ہوتے ہیں۔ بہرکہ اللہ تبارک تعالیٰ عمران خان کو زندگی عطا فرمائے، وہ ملک کے لیے کچھ کرنا چاہتے ہیں، اللہ تعالیٰ اس کو وقت عطا فرمائے۔ ناظرین، اس کے ساتھ ہی آپ ابھی دیکھیں گے وہ کون تھا، ارشد شریف کے متعلق رپورٹ آپ کو پیش کی جا رہی ہے۔ اللہ تبارک تعالیٰ ہم سب کا حامی و ناصر، اور وہی میری التجا ہے کہ نماز اور صبر کے ساتھ اللہ تبارک تعالیٰ سے اپنے وطن کے لیے دعائیں کیا کریں۔ وآخر دعوانا ان الحمد للہ رب العالمین۔
UDA party, good morning.
Good morning.
I have Senator Godfrey Osotsi from Vihiga County. Good morning.
Good morning, Kenyans.
And Mheshimiwa Kimani Kuria from Molo constituency. Good morning.
Good morning, Sam. Good morning, Kenyans.
Great, and it's good to see all of you here. And we're waking up to the headlines that you're seeing there. The tough questions after journalists killing. Pakistani shot, this is on the Standard, Pakistani shot and killed in Magadi in what police claim is a case of mistaken identity. But given the profile of the newscaster, the investigative work he was engaged in that ruffled the feathers of the high and mighty, the world is calling for answers and details, some of the timelines up until his death. Then you'll see on the front page of the Daily Nation, it's a similar story. Wanted in Pakistani for sedition. He was a man on the run. Police officers who spoke to the Nation said ارشد Sharif's car was flagged down, but the driver sped away, forcing the officers to shoot at the car. Sharif's brother Kuram drove for 25 kilometers without the front right tire, which had been deflated by a gunshot as he tried to save his brother's life. He then called Nakar Ahmed, a Pakistani who runs Modamp Quenya, an entertainment spot that also has a shooting range that is open to the public, to inform him of the incident. Nakar advised them to pass by his place, which is located on the way to Nairobi, and on arrival at the main gate, Kuram found out that his brother had already died of a gunshot wound on the head. And of course, you see the image of what transpired, the image of the car where the bullet holes went in, and of course, there are many questions. I don't know if you have thoughts. I'll start with Senator Osotsi because he was the first to arrive here. Almost arrived before me. But Senator, tell me, what are your thoughts this morning on this news that, of course, there's a story that on the Nation says that a diplomatic row was last evening simmering between Nairobi and Islamabad?
Well, I would say it's a very unfortunate incident because clearly, reading through the story, there's a lot to be told. So the police needs to tell us more what happened. It cannot just be an issue of mistaken identity. A lot of questions arise. For instance, you realize that the bullets were targeted to the spot where the journalist was seated. There was no bullet towards the driver's side. Secondly, when police flags you down, there are several things you can do. Either you stop, or if you speed away, then the police needs to immobilize the vehicle by maybe shooting at the tire, especially if there is no exchange of fire. So there are a lot of gaps in the story, and I think this is going to affect the bilateral relations between Kenya and Pakistan. So police needs to tell Kenyans more and tell the world more about this incident, considering that this journalist had fled away from the country because of differences with the state in Pakistan. So people won't just believe that this was a normal incident. People will have every reason to think this was an assassination.
Wow. Infected by Kenyan authorities?
Yes.
How does that work?
Well, I mean, all these questions that we are asking, if they are not answered, then...
because you said that it points to assassination and it is Kenyan police that are at the center of it. How would that work? Who wants him dead?
Well, let me not speculate, but we're just analyzing that if you look at the whole thing, in fact, I was watching TV last night,
right,
and the citizen really analyzed this matter and asked a lot of questions about what could have happened. So all that put together, then you realize there are a lot of gaps in the story as to how this journalist met his death, looking at his background, looking at the fact that he was also involved in coming up with a documentary on matters of corruption, looking at the fact that he was critical of the regime in Pakistan, and basically the fact that the shooting seemed to be very perfect. In fact, that was not a normal shooting. It was a shooting from an expert. You could see behind the rear glass, there were only 3 bullets, bullet holes. And that is what made the difference.
Okay.
So really, there are a lot of questions that the world is asking. And I think what is most important is for the Kenyan authority to carry out a thorough investigation into this matter.
Okay, all right. Senator Gloria, what are you thinking this morning?
I was following the line of thought when you're questioning if it's a targeted, then is it really you? I think you are alluding. So is the police force involved in this? But we know that there have been a lot of rogue police, and actually that has informed the disbandment of the special unit. So we wouldn't put it past that, because we know that in the past the police have been used as a hit squad for other kind of assassinations. So. And if you look at in 2020 alone, IPOA recorded 3,200 killings and, illegal, or let me say, killings by the police. So, we need to be told. We need to be told what really happened. The question is, though, who's going to investigate this? Because the Independent Police Oversight Authority, IPOA, I don't think they're in a position to do so. I think they have been compromised over the last couple of years. So when we are also calling to have those investigations, it is an issue that is touching on the police. So therefore, the police cannot investigate themselves for sure. There is a conflict. IPOA, that is supposed to be an independent oversight authority that should keep the police in check, I think has been compromised. So therefore now we beg to ask the question, then who will investigate, so that we can be sure that we are actually getting findings that are not influenced by any other, interested parties. And I think maybe this is the time we should talk about the special inquiries, the committees. We're talking about state capture and setting up an inquiry, a commission. I think at this point, if we're not looking to have a complete oversight of, a complete overhaul of IPOA, then we better look into, because IPOA came into place through a parliamentary act. So we better look into how we are going to have a proper independent oversight authority for the police, because it's becoming too much. The missing people, the killings, the violence, police brutality that is not really, we are not holding anyone accountable. So I think the president needs to look into this to the extent of setting up a commission.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mheshimiwa Hassan, is there something we're not seeing? Because if you look at the reports, whether it's on the Daily Nation or the Standard or even Citizen TV, you see that he was a high-profile journalist, of course, was involved in a lot of investigative work. He had actually fled home for fear for his life. Then here there's a story on page 3 of the Nation saying that he was about to release explosive graft documentary behind closed doors. The Pakistani version of the documentary, which makes allegations of corruption by ruling party leaders in Pakistan, shows how politicians use the international financial system and offshore jurisdictions to launder their ill-gotten wealth. How does the country explain this to the world?
Well, actually, it's a terrible news for us as a country, in the sense that this has kind of left a big blot on the image and reputation of our country. The death has happened in this country in unexplained circumstances. So both, apart from the unfortunate incident of this gentleman losing his life, it has also put us in a very, very compromising position. So I think, as the others have said, there is an urgent need to get to the bottom of this issue and to investigate and find out the circumstances in which this particular journalist was killed. And I think there are a lot of questions then, there are answers. And that's why I think to a certain extent I see that IPOA the independent police oversight agency is working on it. But this is beyond it. This is beyond the agency. And I'd also like to add that the fact that we've had extrajudicial killings and misuse and abuse of firearms by the police. Maybe this is a good opportunity for the leadership of the country, for the president and the institutions that deal with security, to constitute a commission or an inquiry that will deal with this thing and the many others. Because, for example, the loss of life, the killing of an individual, is a major violation of our constitution as well as international law. Article 26 is very clear about the sanctity of life. We have Article 29, Article 48, Article 49, Article 50 and 51. All of these articles emphasize the importance of protecting lives and the fact that life is the most important and fundamental right. Mm-hmm. And if you take that from an individual, and now it involves a foreigner, a very high-profile foreigner, I think it is good for our country now to start looking at this thing in a holistic way, going to the bottom of it, and also it allows us an opportunity to be able to investigate and reform the police service. Our police service seems to be rotten in some ways that it requires. It's a good opportunity for the new government of President Ruto to be able to sort of use this particular opportunity to clean out the police service and create a police service that will protect our constitutional rights and also would protect life. The reverberation of this particular death is going to affect our tourism. It is going to affect how our country is seen by outsiders. Apart from the fact that maybe this guy was up to something that somebody else wanted to stop. Was this purely an accident? Were the police used as a proxy in executing this particular gentleman? And many other factors. And how do you use firearms in that particular sense? Mm-hmm. That there was, even if it was a mistaken identity, the vehicle they were looking for had apparently a child in it. Would they have also killed the child in it? So there's a lot of unanswered questions, and I think there is an opportunity now for us to be able to look at the whole issue of extrajudicial killings. Because if you look at the number of killings mentioned by the senator, 3,000 is just unbelievable. Unbelievable. It is as if we are at war with our own citizens. Mm-hmm. So the time has come now that since the president has disbanded that killer squad, to be able to go even beyond that, because every one of these 3,000 people is a father, a husband, a brother. There are families who do not know what has happened to their loved ones. And it's a good opportunity to bring a closure, right, so that people know what has happened to their loved ones. Mm-hmm. And I come from a constituency where a lot of these extrajudicial killings have happened, in which mothers, wives are asking me every day what has happened to their loved ones. And we had no clue what had happened to them, right, until we were told that there was a killer squad that was authorized to do these things. Now the time has come to face the truth and deal with that issue once and for all.
Okay.